Oh dear. Today we're going to talk about wolf tones. This is a peculiar and often frustrating phenomenon that every string player faces at some point. And it can, in extreme cases, affect performance and make players feel insecure about their instrument. But what exactly is a wolf tone? Why does it happen? And how can it be managed? Let's dive in. So what is a wolf tone? From a player's perspective, a wolf tone is an odd howling sound that emerges from one specific note on the instrument. The sound is typically harsh and unstable, fluctuating in volume and pitch, sounding like interference and making it difficult to control. For musicians, this means making adjustments to fingerings, dynamics, and sometimes avoiding certain areas of the instrument to prevent triggering this disruptive tone. So let's dive into the physics behind the wolf tones. The occurrence of wolf tones boils down to an acoustic phenomenon where the natural frequency of a string at a specific pitch matches closely with the resonating frequency of the instrument's body. When these frequencies couple, they interfere with each other, creating a wolf tone. Interestingly, wolf tones are much more pronounced on cellos than on violins, largely due to the cello size, which results in more overlapping frequencies between the strings and the body. So is this really a problem? Well, generally, a wolf tone is not considered a problem. Most stringed instruments, including historically important ones like those made by Stradivarius, Montagnana, etc., exhibit wolf tones. You can find a lot of interviews of world-renowned soloists discussing wolf tones in their instruments and how they deal with them. So wolf tones, while uncomfortable, are not inherently detrimental and can be seen as a characteristic of an instrument's unique acoustic signature. However, there are situations where they pose significant challenges. So, when do wolf tones require attention? Wolf tones can become problematic when they occur on notes frequently used in performances, especially if they lie in a register where clarity and stability of tone are critical. Wolf tones necessitate adjustments in technique, such as altering finger pressure, bow speed, and point of contact. These adjustments can interrupt the natural flow of playing and require musicians to focus their attention on managing the tone rather than on the expression or interpretation. So, how can we deal with the wolf tones? A lot of beginners tend to immediately go to wolf tone eliminators to make sure it goes away, and then you don't have to worry about it. While that is an effective solution, I would argue that most cellos I come across don't actually need a wolf tone eliminator. If you adjust your technique around the wolf, it's actually fine in most cases. So I picked this cello because it has a particularly present wolf. If I look for it, you'll see it's there. Okay, now I'm not going to put any wolf tone eliminators yet. We're just going to find ways by adapting our technique, see if we can live with it. In this case, the wolf tone is around the F, and it's present both on the C string, which is, it's not very common that you have to play up there, but also on the G string. It's there. Now, simplest way is to apply more pressure in both the left hand and with a bow. That is already, I think, a lot better. Another thing we can use is by playing the lower octave, so the lower F on the C string, to keep it from vibrating, dampening those frequencies. And in 99% of the cases, this means the wolf tone goes away. So by doing this, I can play as quietly or as loudly as I want, and the wolf is gone. Now, it does mean the sound is a little bit different, but this is effectively what a wolf tone eliminator is doing. So this is the sound without my finger on the lower octave, and this is the sound with my finger on the lower octave. Sounds different, but if you can adapt your technique, if it's convenient during a performance, that might be all that is required to eliminate the wolf tone, and it's no longer a problem. What we can also use is vibrato, and a lot of it, because vibrato is just shifting frequencies up and down, and by vibrating along the problematic note, it will shift that frequency, and it means it will come away from the wolf note very quickly. So let's see if that helps. Still there, but it's much better. Now we can combine both techniques of putting the first finger on the lower octave and vibrating. and that solves the problem. Now, it's quite awkward to do that, but it can be done. So in some pieces, that might be all it takes to fix it. If these techniques still don't help and you really feel like you need to put a wolf tone suppressor on, this is how you can do it. There are many, many different types of wolf tone eliminators. They're magnetic, there are ones that go on the string, there's all sorts of solutions. We are purposefully choosing the cheapest and simplest. This one goes on the G string, well, in any string, but on the G string in this case. And we feel like it works in 99% of cases, if you know how to install it correctly. So this is how we do it. There's this little rubber element inside that we slide into the string. I'm putting it on the G string because that's a good place to start, and it usually takes care of the problem. Now this plastic bit goes alongside the string, and then you put the metal cover over it, and you screw until it doesn't move up or down along the string. So now that it's installed, a good trick to figure out exactly where to place it is by playing over the bridge, so between the tailpiece and the bridge, and see if you can find the exact note that is causing a wolf tone when you play it properly. So in our case, it's an F, so let's find the F. It's roughly there, and that should in theory, mean that it's most effective at the frequency that is bothering us. So in this case, the F, let's see if that makes it work better. And it seems to have fixed the problem. Now, if you really look for it, it will still be there. You can still hear it on the string changes, but it's much better. Now, this also means that it has affected the overall sound of the instrument, which may or not be okay with you, depending on your preference and depending on how bad the wolf tone is. Hopefully, this gives you a better understanding of wolf tones, why they happen, and how they can be managed. As a performer, it can be frustrating, but the important message is that this is something every string player has to deal with, from a young student to the most world-renowned soloist. It's part of one's development to be able to learn how to deal with them when performing. So rather than worrying about them too much, it's better to think about them as a technical challenge to overcome. I hope this was helpful, and stay tuned for the next video.